Recording now. Welcome, Tom, from the band Sinner. Greetings.
Can I make funny faces? Can I make funny faces and all that stuff?
You can make funny faces, mate, because my face is naturally funny. So you go ahead and make those faces as well.
So, are you interested in rugby?
Look, not much of a rugby fan. I know that you're a bit of a football fan, so I've got a few questions about football later.
Yeah, like nice. Football is it's more popular than rugby, but there is on Amazon Prime there is a series called All or Nothing, and I'm watching the All Blacks, like the rugby team of New Zealand, and I watch it, and now they're playing against Australia, which is a huge competition and game. That's why I'm asking, because you're from Australia. So where are you from Australia? Where are you from Australia?
I'm from Perth in Western Australia. Very beautiful place.
I think we just played Melbourne and Sydney. I was never in Perth.
When you were last over. But you make sure you make Perth next time, right?
Yeah, Brisbane would also be cool. Like Brisbane, Perth, Sydney, Canberra.
Fantastic. Let's make a plan. Cool. So Tom, out of the guitarists from the band Sinner, who have got an upcoming release called Brotherhood on the 15th of July. It's the band's 18th record, and from my opinion, the band just keeps getting stronger and stronger. I'm going to go through the album in a little bit more detail, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to get to know a little bit more about you, Tom.
Sure, go ahead. What do you want to know?
You've cited your interests, musical influences as Status Quo, Kiss, Journey, and Night Ranger. But who really inspired you to pick up the guitar?
I think it was Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest, because I was on a show in November 1981. It was the point of entry tour of Judas Priest, supported by Def Leppard and Accept.
Fantastic.
That was a classic tour, and I was a kid, I was a fan, so, and I was like in the middle of everything. I was in the second row, and the band started with Solar Angels, and then Glenn went to the stage and he played, and then he gave everybody 5, and so he touched my hand, and I was like, I want to do this in my future life as well. So then I came home and I went to my parents, like, I need a guitar, please buy me a guitar. And at first I said no. And then 2 friends of mine, they went into a music store, and the one bought a bass and the one bought a guitar. And they were like, what are you doing? We are forming a band. And I went back to my parents and said, hey, they are forming a band, and I would love to play the guitar. And my father was also a guitar player. So he was playing like a cover band way back in the 60s and 70s. Like, he wasn't really good, but he made a lot of money with just a simple chords. And so they decided that they will buy me a guitar. And they went like, hey, but I don't want to see the guitar in the corner after 3 months. Then we'll have a real problem. And after 3 months, they went, please do something different than playing guitar. So I was really into it. And I really learned a lot. And when we got summer holidays, everybody went to the swimming pool. So I just drew the blinders and I practiced like 10 hours a day. And I must say that the first influence was Glenn Tipton. And then, I got a lot of Angus Young because I was a AC/DC fan. And then I was into Night Ranger, Brett Gillis with his whammy bar stuff. And I was into Steve Lukather and Neil Schon because of the melody stuff. And so, yeah, but I got a lot of influences. So there's not only one guy I can pick out from all the influences I have. So I'm also the guy that I cannot play like every solo from a single guy. I just pick out special parts and then I mix it with my kind of stuff, and then something new comes out.
Yeah, that's good. Tom, you also cite Jimmy Barnes, Australia's own Barnesy, as one of your favorite artists. Tell me, how did you get into Barnesy?
He did an album like with the Journey guys, Freight Train Heart. It was like more like an AOR album. So, and I was really into this album, and then I started listening to his older stuff as well, like Working Class Man and all that stuff. And his voice just blew me away. And then he did a tour in Germany, and he played in my hometown. And I went there, and I was like, what the fuck is he doing on stage? He's so fucking amazing. And then he had this guitar player on stage, and this guy was a left-hand guy. And you know, left-handed guitar players are really rare.
They are rare.
Yep. Hey, there's also a left-hand guitar player, a fantastic, amazing. And then I found out by accident on Facebook that he's a guy from Canada, and he plays in a band called Steelheart. But by that time, I didn't know that. I didn't know that there's any connection between Jimmy Barnes from Australia and the guitar player of Steelheart who lives in Canada. So yeah, I'm following Jimmy for a long time right now. And fantastic. Okay, I'm not really into his soul albums and all that stuff. When he does his rocky stuff, I really love it. I think the last song he released was his video when they were closing down this car factory. That was a huge thing in Australia, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was indeed. Now you're testing my memory cells here, Tom.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the song was, but I really loved it. I heard it for the first time, and I could read the lyrics, and I got goosebumps like that. He's a fantastic singer, and I follow him on Instagram. And when this Corona time came and everybody was not allowed to play live, so he did songs every day with his wife and his family, and that was really nice. So every morning I woke up, and then I go like, Jimmy, and then he goes, now we're playing this song, we're playing that song, and it was so fun because somebody is playing the piano, and there was somebody else in the back holding a baby, and his wife is playing guitar, and this was fantastic. This is like, and I would love to meet him once, just to tell him how wonderful he is and what kind of singer he is. And yeah, he really touches me with his voice. He's an amazing guy.
Let's hope you get that opportunity when you come back to Australia, Tom.
I hope, yeah. You know that the fun part is because like Germany and Australia is like, it's not only worlds apart, it's galaxy away normally. So every time when we play Japan, we go like, yeah, now we're in Japan. So, okay, let's do Australia as well, because it's just like a small step. And they go like, hey, it's Japan to Australia is longer than from Germany to the USA.
It is. Yeah.
But every time you're in Japan, you go like, hey, we're in Japan. Oh, let's do Australia as well. They go, what? but I love to be there, to be honest. So we did a tour in 1998 together with Hammerfall, Labyrinth, and Pegasus.
Yeah.
It's an Australian band.
Yes, it
and is. Guitar player was Johnny Stoy. And the last time we played Australia, I think it was 2018. And I just called him, said, hey, Johnny, long time to see. It was like 20 years ago. We're playing your hometown tonight. Would you like to come by? We have a couple of ice cold ones. And he said, yeah, can I bring my brother as well? Because the brother was the drummer. And so they watched the show. And then we met in a pub next to the hotel. And we had hell of a time. And it was so funny to meet up again after 20 years. And yeah, it was like, that was amazing.
True friendships last a lifetime, mate. It doesn't matter how absent.
That was so cool. By the way, I think I need to write him. I need to make a note.
Expect a letter from Tom. Tom, you've worked with Matt for 35 years now, which is almost unheard of in the music industry now. What is the key to the longevity with you and Matt, and how have you maintained that strong friendship that you have during that time?
Oh no, I know Matt way longer than 35 years because he already produced a demo of my former band. And yeah, and I was a fan of Sinner. I was a fan of Matt Sinner before he founded Sinner, because there was another band called Shiva. And Shiva was like the hometown hero band in my era. So, and I went to so many shows, and and I met Matt, I think, in a pub. And we start talking, and then the next day we met again, and then, I'm doing music as well. And then he wanted to listen to it. And then I played 2 supporting shows for Sinner. And then, then we found out we have the same musical interests. We love the same bands, and we have the same favorite football team. yeah, and then we started doing music together, and no, it's something very special if you have a friend in the music business for 35 years. It's like a marriage. It's like you have your ups and you have your downs, but you always stick together, and that's very important. He has his mind, I have my opinion, but at the end, it's all good.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, it obviously is like a marriage, because the two of you with Ralph Scheppers from Gamma Ray actually formed another fantastic band from Germany called Primal Fear.
Yes.
Is there a challenge to keep both bands active and relevant in today's musical scene?
Do you mean there's a comparison between or competition between Sinner and Primal Fear?
No, keep both bands active and continue that creativity in two separate bands.
Yeah, sure. Like now we done a Sinner album which will be released soon, and
Yes.
we are already in the writing process for the next Primal Fear album. We will play a festival in August, and then probably we'll play a festival in November, and then I think that we will go back into the studio to record another Primal Fear album. And the good thing is that because Matt is in the same, both bands, and so like we don't have any problems about the time schedule, because he knows it. And then we do Rock Meets Classic together, so we have like 3 bands where we play together, and and there's no problem timing wise because he's managing it all, and I'm fine with that.
That's good. Does the songwriting process for both bands differ?
We have a different approach, like Primal Fear is more like heavy power metal, true metal, not true, but more power metal. It's a lot of double bass stuff, and then we have this metal siren up front, like Ralph, which is a fantastic singer. And then we have Sinner, which is based on more like heavy or rock stuff, like more Thin Lizzy influenced. Matt's voice is different. The songs are not that fast like Primal Fear. So there is a different approach. But I've done some interviews already, and some guys said, like the music is so heavy, it could also be like a Primal Fear album. And I go like, we released albums like Bottom Line and Judgment Day and Nature of Evil, which, in the 90s, and Primal Fear didn't exist by the time. So for us, it was like really cool to go back in time and do music we've done 25 years ago and trying to bring the vibe and the spirit into 2022. So, and I don't think that you can compare the music of Primal Fear with the music of Sinner or vice versa. Right now, probably, but if Ralph would have sung the Sinner songs on that album, sure, it would sound like Primal Fear. Ralph sang on a new song of Avantasia, and it sounds like Primal Fear, because Ralph is the voice of Primal Fear, and he has a special voice, and he's well known for that.
He does indeed.
But I think that the music of Primal Fear and Sinner is different. And if I start writing riffs for Primal Fear, there's a totally different approach when I write songs for a Sinner.
Fantastic. Tom, you're missing probably the biggest band of your career, Big Balls, the AC/DC tribute. How's that band going? Is it still active? And
it's like we're playing on Saturday. So we'll have a show on Saturday. And it's so funny because there's another guy, Frank Beck from Gamma Ray, the singer of Gamma Ray, and he just gave me a notice. Are you there on Saturday? Because this is a fucking long trip, because I live in the south of Germany, and we're playing really up north. It's like a 700 or 800 kilometer ride. Okay.
Oh wow.
For Australia, that's nothing. I know, but for Australia, it's like a 7-8 hours ride to get there, and then we will have showtime on 11:30 in the evening till 1:30, like 2 hours in the middle of the night. It was like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, the band is still active, and we will play a couple of shows in our area, and most of them are sold out, and we're pretty popular over here. Fantastic. In our era.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And it's so much fun, because when I was a kid, like I started listening to Beatles, and I got the possibility. Sweet or Bay City Rollers. Okay, the good-looking girls, they went to Bay City Rollers, so I was a Bay City Rollers fan. And then it was like Kiss and AC/DC. So when I was young, but I was 15 years old, I was listening to AC/DC. And now I'm playing a lot of songs. I have an AC/DC tribute band. I play a lot of old stuff from the Bon Scott era, which are totally great. And it's so much fun to hang out with my friends because the singer, I know him since the school days. And we are playing together for, I don't know how many years. And now we got a new guitar player, and he was formerly in a band called the New Roses. And the New Roses, they are supporting Kiss right now on the German tour.
Yeah.
And the drummer is Markus Kuhlmann, who is also playing in Sinner. And he used to play for Glenn Hughes. So it's like a all-star band. But it's fun.
Tom, you would have seen a massive amount of changes in the music industry since you started in the 80s. What has been the most significant changes that you've experienced during this time?
Like when we were young, so we got vinyl. We got no possibility to copy something. So if I wanted to have an album because I liked it, I went into a store and bought it.
Yeah.
And then we got the possibility to record something on a cassette, and then we can double it from a cassette to a cassette. And all of a sudden, internet came, and internet changed the whole story. And then, do you remember when Metallica was totally against Napster, and all the Metallica fans, they destroyed their albums? Yeah. But Metallica was right. Now we have like Spotify. My songs are on Spotify. They are like 180 million members on Spotify, and everybody's like playing like $10 or 10 euros, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money this is in a month? And when there is a song streamed, I got 0.0004 cent out of it. So, and nobody's buying albums anymore because you can get it so much for free. And like, you're releasing an album, and before the album is released, you can listen to it on YouTube or whatever. So the streaming stuff is really bad for the music industry. And in former times, it was like you record an album, you release an album, then you go on tour to support the album, to spread the album, that people buy the album. Nowadays, you're doing an album to go on tour to sell shirts or to sell merchandise. And that's totally changing. You know, like, okay, the huge bands, they're selling out everything, but it's like the not so big bands. This is pretty tough sometimes. You know, you're just doing albums, and then you go on tour for months and months and months to selling your stuff. Because in former times you did a tour to promote your album, but now it does not make any sense to promote an album because nobody's buying it, because everybody has it on Spotify or on YouTube or on Napster or on Deezer or whatever those platforms are. Definitely. That's really bad. And that's not only bad for the bands, it's also bad for the labels, you know. And if this will go on, I think there are a lot of bands will quit, and a lot of fans are killing their bands, not buying the album. Yeah. And
it definitely goes to show that bands need to really support bands like yourselves to make it worthwhile. Speaking of which,
but the good thing is, but the good thing about the metal or heavy communities, they are still buying albums because they want to see a booklet, they want to read the lyrics and all that stuff. That's pretty good. But a lot of pop bands as well, I don't know how they will survive without not. They get so much money from the record label, but they're hardly selling, or they're selling way less than they did before.
Yeah, definitely. How important is the vinyl resurgence for bands like Sinner or even Primal Fear?
Can you please repeat the question? I didn't get it.
No, how important is the vinyl resurgence? We've seen here in Australia that the purchase of vinyl records is becoming absolutely massive over here. To release your new album on vinyl, how important is the vinyl resurgence to bands like yours?
Oh, like there were times where there is no vinyl available at all because the CDs, they did all the stuff. But now, slowly but really strongly, the vinyl scene is coming back, and it's like it's really good. So we are selling CDs and vinyl pretty good. So I have a lot of vinyl stuff over here, like the new, I can tell you, like the new deluxe version of the first Primal Fear album with a booklet and all the stuff, and it's pretty cool to have this shit again. Like, because we are getting older, so everything needs to be taller so we can read it, you know.
That's fantastic. I know that is too true, Tom. Very true. Outside of music, you cite that football, steak, and beer is some of your passions. We tick all of the boxes in those three areas here in Australia. When can we expect you and Matt and the rest of the band to come to see us in Australia again?
So I hope pretty soon, but as Corona came and the pandemic came, we needed to postpone our European tour like 2 or 3 times. Wow. We were supposed to go on America tour together with Symphony X, which was postponed 2 times. And there were talks about going to Japan. And when you're in Japan, you will go to Australia. I told you before. But right now, there are no talks about doing a tour or anything. So I would love to be on tour, because we released a great album with Primal Fear in 2020. And it was our most successful album in our history. But I did not even play one song live yet because of the pandemic. So amazing. I hope that we will have the opportunity in 2023 or at least 2024 to come back to Japan and Australia, because we love the places over there. It's really cool. And yeah, it's a long travel, but it's worth it.
Most definitely. We hear that Matt is unwell at the moment too, so fingers crossed he has a speedy recovery, and we do see you in Australia. If we can, I just want to have a quick talk about the new album, Brotherhood, which is out on the 15th of July. I mentioned before, it's on all formats. It is a really strong record. After you finished the recording process, what was the feeling? What was the standout hits from your perspective?
You know, like when normally, or when we record Sinner or Primal Fear albums, I'm just a guitar player. So I just going into a studio and I record my stuff and then I'm out, because normally Matt is the producer and he does everything. He's organizing everything, and he's on the drums recording and the vocal recording. He's all over the place. But this time Matt got ill, and so he asked me if I can finish the album. So it was a challenge, and it was a heavy duty to finish the album. So I went in the studio and we recorded the drums and recorded the guitars, and we need to get all the files from the guest singers, and then we send it to Jakob Hansen. Then his first mix came, and then you have to like, is it good? Is it not good? And yeah, it was some tough times, you know, because I never did that before, but it was also challenging. And after we've done everything and we had the final mix in our hands, we all were pretty satisfied with the output. It was brilliant for us, because it was like, we wanted that the album should sound like, it was like heavy and it was powerful, and it was really good. So we're pretty happy about it. And yeah, I do not have any favorite song, because I've listened to the album probably 1,000 times before the release date. And yeah, it's always a mood thing, because sometimes I love to listen to Bulletproof, sometimes it's The Man They Couldn't Hang. Then I love The Last Generation or 40 Days, 40 Nights. So it's different every day.
Yeah, and I have to say, having listened to the album a few times myself, there probably isn't a standout track for me. All of the tracks are really, really strong. Just to
Thank you.
Name a few, Bulletproof, which leads off the album. It really sounds to me like you're paying tribute to the longevity that Sinner have had in the metal scene. Moving on, the title track, Brotherhood, it really echoes Matt's comments. Matt was quoted recently by saying, without this friendship, Sinner would simply not exist. And Brotherhood almost sounds like a tribute to that friendship that you and the band do have.
Yeah, that's one point. Yeah, because we know each other for such a long time, and that's why we could call the album Brotherhood. But it was also like, when the pandemic came, we need to go together, like as a team, because we were not able to play live anymore, and so we had a loss of money. And so we decided to record an album and to invite and involve friends of ours. Like when we went into the studio of Basi Röder, our tour manager, so he can earn some money. We went to Jakob Hansen to mix the album, and Jakob is also a friend of ours because he did a lot of albums before. And Oliver Palotai, keyboard player of Camelot, he lives like 25 kilometers away from my home. So we invited a lot of friends to be part of the album and just to help them as well. And that's why we call the album Brotherhood.
Fantastic. Tom, one final question before I let you go.
Yeah, sure.
Final track on the album. It's a Killer's cover.
Yes.
When you were young, quite surprising,
Yes.
actually. I really enjoyed the song. It was very strong and respectful to the original, but with a Sinner signature on it.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to include this as a cover?
I think it was Matt's idea, but we did a cover of Billy Idol's Rebel Yell in 1984, I guess. And since then, this song is in our set list. And
Fantastic.
the last time we were on tour, we added, I think it was a Message in a Bottle of Police. So we are always like trying some songs which are not in the musical style of Sinner, and try to make it sound Sinnerish, so to say. And I think the Killers are a great band. They have a lot of good songs. And Matt came up with the idea, and I go like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's have a try."
That's great.
And Alex and Matt, Alex Schulp from the guitar player of Tarja, and Matt, they recorded the song, and we were like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." And it really fits to the rest of the songs. And so we decided to put it on the album. That's
fantastic. Look, as I mentioned, the Brotherhood album is out on the 15th of July. It really is worth a listen. I've become a mega fan of the band since listening to the album. So thank you
very much.
Fantastic release. Tom, any final words for your friends and fans here in Australia before we wrap up?
Stay safe, stay sane, and celebrate life.
Fantastic. Tom, again, thank you very much for the interview, and thank you Atomic Records for making this opportunity available. On behalf of Rockhouse Mag, I really hope the greatest success for you with this latest album.
Yeah, I really appreciate talking to you. It was really nice, and we had fun.
Yeah, we did indeed. Maybe one final question. Who is your football team?
Schalke 04.
That's awesome. We won't talk about mine.
The best team in the world.
Second to Manchester United, my dear friend.
Okay. No, I'm more a Liverpool supporter than.
Yeah.
Because the coach is a German guy, and when I was young, my favorite player was Ian Rush, a Welsh guy who played for Liverpool.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay.
Again, much thanks. All the best for the new album. I'm sure you'll see great success with it. Thanking you.
Okay. Thank you.